Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Education Platform. Now, before we begin with our lessons for today, I'm going to be reading you a verse which is taken from Ephesians chapter 6, verse 1. And it states that, "Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor thy father and thy mother, which is the first commandment, with promise, that it may be well with thee, and thou mayest live long on earth. And ye fathers, provoke not your children not to wrath, but bring them up the nurture and admonition of the Lord." The word of the Lord. Now, now, as it's still Black History Month, uh, today I'm gonna be telling you about James Hargraves, which is our Black History Month, which is our Black African American inventor. James Hargraves was a Black African American inventor who created the spinning jenny, which was used to spin cotton to make clothing. That is our Black History Month Black African American person or inventor. Now, our first lesson is perfect tense. Now, there are three perfect tense: past, present, and future tense. But for perfect tense, it's different. Instead of perfect, present, past, or future tense, it's present perfect tense, past perfect tense, and future perfect tense. First, perfect past tense. Yep. Now, what we know about past tense is that they are words that represents past in the sentence. But for perfect tenses, it's different. It needs to have the past tense and the participle. For example, Mr. Paul has listened to the songs, and has and listen are the past tense and participle in the sentence. Next is perfect present tense. Now, what we know about perfect tense is that they are words or sentences that show what is happening right now, or tell. But for perfect present tense, it needs to have the word has or have and the participle. Now, last is perfect future tense. For perfect future tense, they are words in the sentence that helps to tell what might happen. For the sentence to have perfect future tense, it needs will or shall plus the participle. Now, our second lesson is about fasteners. Now, fasteners are the things we use to hold things together. Such as, for example, a paper clip. A paper clip helps to keep papers together. A staple holds papers together. Screws hold boards together, and so on. Now, our third lesson is about Noah and the ark. I'm going to be telling you the story. And as it starts, "And the Lord said unto Noah, Come thou by all thy house into the ark. For thee I have seen righteous before me in this generation. Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by sevens, the male and his female, and of beasts that are not clean by two, the male and his female, and of beasts that are not clean by two, of fowls also in the air, by sevens, the male and the female, to keep seed alive upon the face of all the earth, for yet 7 days, and I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and every living substance that I have made will I destroy from the face of the earth. And Noah did according unto the Lord commanded him. And Noah was 600 years old when the flood waters was upon the earth. And Noah went in, and his sons and his wife, and his sons and his wife with him, into the ark, because of the waters of the flood, of clean beasts, and of beasts that are not clean, and of fowls, and of everything that creepeth upon the earth. There went in two and two unto Noah into the ark. And it came to pass after 7 days, the waters of the flood were upon the earth. That's the story of Noah and the ark. Now, our fourth lesson is about the history of basketball. Now, what we know about basketball is a sport that was played in the 1900s and is still played today. The person who invented basketball was James Naismith. He was the first black African American inventor to invent this sport that was played by the NBA, also known as the NBA stands for the National Basketball Association. It was composed within 3 teams and with the 4 major professional sports. Our 5th lesson, I'm going to be reading to you a story about Romeo and Juliet. As it starts. Okay, as it starts. The story of the lovers has upstaged the rest of Shakespeare's drama. Probably later audiences have lacked the acuity of ear, which helped develop Elizabethans to recognize subtle changes in the verse. Whatever the explanation, Shakespeare's original composition, its essential features recorded in the first 2 quartos, 1597 and 1599, has undergone much rearrangement through the history of its performance. The lover's passion usually stands fixed in the spotlight. It seldom displays the volatility which the script creates of verbal and poetic shifts, although an assortment of productions have cut assortment of lines. The gorgeous lyrical dialogues at window and balcony inevitability remain for carefully orchestrated treatment, and reviewers often judge performances by the degree to which they reproduces Shakespeare's music. In short, for 3 centuries, Romeo and Juliet on the stage, and frequently on the page as well, has differed in tone and effect from the Elizabethan version. Before recreating several decisive moments in the play's performance history, the interpreparations of David Garrick, Charlotte Cushman, John Gielgud, Peter Brook, and Franco Zeffirelli, the following pages will briefly survey their mutual point of departure, the original Romeo and Juliet, its composition and production. As it starts, when he alludes to the usages of romantic comedy, Levin indicates another novelty in Shakespeare's treatment of dramatic genre with Romeo and Juliet. Tragedy entertains not only new subject matter, but also conventions of plot, character, and style from a totally different theoretical mode. A number of critics have explored this comic dimension of the play, trying to understand how it functions and what it means. In the comic matrix of Shakespeare's tragedies in 1979, the most recent thorough study, Susan Cinder, finds the comic element prominent enough to support her argument that Romeo and Juliet goes through genre transformation. Action and characters begin in the familiar comic mold and tragedy in page 57. No matter how the results are interrupted, Shakespeare's counterpointing of genres affects the play's structure and tone from moment to moment. In the process, it demonstrates the interrelation of dramatic modes, as well as the dynamism at points of contact. if Shakespeare's reworked the famous tale of Romeo and Juliet, a narrative device which emphasizes its character. Juliet depends on Shakespeare's inventive treatment for the Petrarch idiom, probably his most striking innovation in his dramatizing the famous story, as Leonard Forrester explains the icy fire, a poetic idiom of great flexibility, which could be a non-committal or serious as desired, which he could be to parade Fiticus concentration or endless elaboration in page 8. Romeo and Juliet manipulates the vocabulary and conventions of picturism as it has been established in England during the last 2 decades of the 16th century. Of course, Shakespeare himself, if had recently in Shakespeare's early tragedies in 1968, it has emphasized that the play's connection with the sonnet mode in an important comment. It is obvious that the experience of the non-dramatic sonnets is involved here. The story of Romeo and Juliet. Our next lesson is the blocks in the periodic table. Now the blocks are the S block, the P block, the D block, and the F block. Now first, the S block. The elements in the S block are hydrogen, potassium, sodium, lithium, francium, beryllium, magnesium, and barium. Next is the D block. The elements in the D block are scandium, iron, titanium, cobalt, ruthenium, hafnium, oncidium, titanium, yttrium, and bohrium. Next is the P block. The elements in the P block are shown: phosphorus, sulfur, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, chlorine, gallium, carbon, moscovium, krypton, and ogacian, also known as ogacion. Now last, the F block. The elements in the F block are fluoride, lithium, actinium, cerium, lawrencium, ruthenium, gadolinium, europium, promethium, phthium, and germanium. Our next lesson is about punctuation. Okay, the punctuations that are used in sentences or in stories or poems or any other type of excerpts, so on, are commas, periods, semicolons, colons, question marks, exclamation marks, and quotation marks. Now first is, when using a comma, to use a comma, the sentence needs to be a complete or an incomplete thought, also known as called a comma splice. I lived with my grandparents for the past 2 years. That's a complete sentence. It's been very stressful. That's an incomplete sentence. Now, when using a colon, to use a colon, the sentence must be complete. My mom is going to the supermarket to get all of the following: eggs, milk, bread, juice, fruit, vegetables, and bacon. Now, when using a period, you need to use a period when you're at the end of the sentence. Example, my friend Shaz went to the carnival, and the period is at the end of the sentence. Now next is the history of football. As it's shown, football is a sport that is played with team players kicking and throwing the ball through the goalpost. When was football invented? Football was invented in the 1920s. The inventor of football is Walter Camp. Football was played all through the 1920s. Next is absorption. Absorption is the process of soaking up liquid and holding it inside. For example, a sponge soaking up water. Our next lesson is about the Cold War. The Cold War was a geographical tension of most countries involved in the Cold War. The National Atlantic Treaty Organization, also known as the NTO, was the military alliance between the countries that are involved in communism and democracy. Now, for the result of the Cold War is that many people were killed, about 40,000, because the spread of communism was increasing, but the spread of democracy was decreasing. Now, before we go, if you wish to like and subscribe on YouTube, go to our channel page, and like and share on Facebook. And if you have any questions or concerns, you can type out our phone number. It's also listed in the Facebook page. And watch out for new videos because they are coming. And also, if you want to learn more about us, please go to educationplatform.card.co and click on the link. Also known as the Learn More button to learn more. Also, go to our channel page and our new videos will be uploaded. Now, thank you and have a wonderful day.